Welcome to another episode of Port Charles Chat. I'm Mom.
And I'm Brandon.
Thank you so much for joining us again today. Brandon, I'm looking forward to this episode.
I am as well.
All right, everybody, we're going to talk about the Nurses Ball. And just for you'll know, the taping of this is on May 25th of 2025. All right, Brandon, overall, what were your thoughts about the Nurses Ball?
Oh, I loved it. It was definitely suspenseful and quite fun at times.
Yeah, it really was. It really was. And just so our viewing audience will know, this is what I kind of want to do today. I want to talk a little bit about some of the storylines that took place before and after the Nurses Ball and during. And then I want to talk just very briefly about which acts we kind of like best. And then we'll go through our performer of the week and things like that. All righty? Let's get started, Brandon. All right, let's talk about our storylines. There are one, two, three, four. There are five storylines that stood out to me. The first one we have to talk about is Geo, because that to me was the most important storyline that occurred this week. Just so the audience knows, Geo overhears a conversation between Lulu and Lois speaking and learns that Dante and Brooklyn are his parents. Um, and that in itself, to me, was a very impactful storyline. Geo, the look on his face, he had an incredibly hurt look. And, I didn't really know that Geo could act. I mean, you suspect, but I thought he did a wonderful job with this particular scene. He kind of goes out during one of his performances and he lets the audience know that he's aware of this information. Everyone in Port Charles seems to know something that has gone on with Brooklyn, and the fact that she had a child is, of course, a secret. But everyone has told this secret all over the place. What the person who does not know is Dante at this time, and so and neither does Dante's father or his mother. But the secret's been going around for a while, and but it was the hurt look on Gio's face and then the confused look on Dante's face when everything came out. And then then Gio had a little scene where he kind of broke his violin in front of everyone and ran out after announcing that his parents were Brooklyn and Dante. um, and so, Brandon, were you surprised at this reaction?
No, I wasn't surprised by the reaction by any means, but I will say that it was done so much better than I could have ever thought.
Yeah, it really was. It was done really, really well. And so I've got to give kudos to the writing team for this one because we kind of knew that this was going to come out during the Nurses Ball. It was the question of how and when and the reactions. And then the only unfortunate thing is that we didn't get to see the reaction of Gio afterwards, or I should say the aftermath of everything. Geo ran out, and so we're left for this week to find out how Geo responds to Brooklyn and to Dante later. I thought what was interesting from Friday's episode was they allowed Dante to find out through Cody, and they had a really nice conversation about it, or and I thought, and I liked the way it kind of came out to Sunny also, and with Ned and Olivia. I thought they all kind of handled and actually acted those scenes very well. Your thoughts on their acting for those scenes?
Yeah, I definitely really like that they gave them a chance to react and didn't just group them in. I mean, we certainly watched, at least for me, I watched Geo sort of destroying that violin a couple times. And again, it's a little motion to see like everyone's different facial expressions. But I'm so glad that they gave essentially Friday's episode to Dante and his family trying to figure out, and even for Brooklyn's dad Ned and him trying to figure out why wasn't he included in any of this. But what I thought was kind of interesting in how they did this was that after they gave everyone a moment to say their piece, if you will, that they had them walk off screen to never be seen again for the most part.
Yeah, actually, that's very true too, and that was really interesting. And I thought Sonny kind of had some of the actually most important lines in the scenes. He made a point because everyone, of course, wanted to go after Dante. Once he left, when he realized everything that's gone on, and he said that everyone needed to give Dante some time, and that he and Brooklyn really needed to talk about it together. Even Chase did not go after Brooklyn. They just kind of let the scene kind of end, sort of, in that regard. As you said, they just kind of, I don't want to say walked off, but they left the scene. And so I thought they did a nice job with that. So that was the first big storyline that occurred during the nurses' ball itself. And then the second big storyline that occurred was Michael, because once more, we're going to welcome him back. Welcome back, Michael, and welcome back, new Michael. So at the end of Friday's episode, Michael walked in while his son was actually performing at the nurses' ball. Of course, everyone's kind of staring, but Wiley recognized him immediately and went straight to him. Michael picked him up and said he was kind of taking him, I guess, to go, but it was the look on everyone's face when they realized who it was that kind of came in. I like that they didn't give them a time to react. It was more so just the facial expressions. Of course, we find out later that Jason is the one who kind of knew that Michael was coming back. We're not giving any details or anything like that, but we do know that Jason has some part in Michael returning. All right, Brandon, what were your thoughts in general about the Michael surprise storyline?
Well, even though you weren't here for it, yeah, when me and my brother were watching live on Friday's episode, I was calling it. I knew exactly what was going to happen with that. I didn't know if they were going to have the children perform, but I kind of figured and was hoping that they were, just because I did see Donna in the intro at the beginning, that, okay, we haven't seen her thus far. Let's see, will she be performing? And so when they were all performing, I was like, oh, okay, well, we saw Jason get the mysterious phone call, so Michael's gonna come and take the kid afterwards, right? And so, in seeing that that's what happened, I love the execution of it, though. I really liked it, especially even the narrator announcing that we have the new Michael. I think was just done perfectly, and that it gave enough for shock value, but not enough for even us as the viewers for it all to sink in. So I'm glad this is a Friday episode and not like a Thursday.
Yeah, it really. I was so happy this was a Friday episode, also. And then let's move on to storyline number three. We got Portia and Curtis here. Um, Curtis confronts Portia, and Portia does admit that she's being blackmailed. Curtis already suspected this anyway, and that Drew is the one who is blackmailing her. What I thought was interesting, and I think I caught everything, but Portia did not say everything that she did. So she did not talk about the drugging or giving the drugs to the prostitute. For Drew, she just more so talked about the hospital dealings, which in a way, Curtis knew about that anyway. It was just the fact that it had gone further on. That part, Curtis didn't know, and so I thought they handled that really well. Um, you know, and so they're of course trying to bring on a common front per se for Trina, but you could tell that Curtis is really, really upset about knowing this about Portia. But at the same time, he doesn't want to give in to Drew. So it'll be interesting to see how he kind of decides to handle whatever it is that he decides to do. Okay, your thoughts, Brandon, about Portia and Curtis?
I like that out of everything that they're disagreeing on and everything, that the one thing that Curtis is able to stay is like, it's like, oh, well, we're going to stay together, right? It's like, yeah, for tonight. Yeah, we can't give Drew the upper hand. So I like that even when it comes to their marriage falling apart, it all comes down to making sure that Drew does not get the upper hand in this whole situation.
Yes, yes. All right, storyline number four. We've got Tracy, who is arrested actually on the first day of the nurse's ball, actually while they're walking in. And so Tracy evidence has been planted on Tracy, or I should say her car, I believe, um, in regards to um, in regards to the drugging of Drew. This is something that Drew planted the evidence on her. And so what's interesting for this particular storyline is they mentioned it initially, at the beginning of the nurses' ball. They made a big deal about it, of course, and then not mentioned again until Friday. And so, and so this was one of those storylines. It was passive, but yet important to the plot, in regards to what is Tracy going to do in regards to Drew. And Jason even questions that, and I got a kick out of Jason picking her up from jail. Out of all people to pick her up, it's Jason, and then he leaves her once she's kind of bailed out. All right, Brandon, your thoughts about Tracy being arrested?
I thought that that was a hilarious plot, especially that Chase, of all people, had to do it right before he went to the red carpet. And don't get me wrong, I would have loved to have seen Tracy perform at the Nurses' Ball. I thought that would have been kind of cool, especially if she would have been there to hear about the Geo reveal. But in the same regard, I think this gives us some more ammunition against Drew and the whole setting up thing. Hopefully, this is the beginning of the end for his storyline with Willow. But I am kind of curious as to sort of will this change her allegiance to Drew? Because from the way of Friday's episode in her conversation with Jason, it doesn't seem like that changes anything.
No, it doesn't seem like it's changing anything. All right. So, storyline number 5 that I want to talk about is Alexis and Christina. They were not at the nurses' ball. However, they were supposed to attend. And Alexis actually confronts Christina in regards to the accident. She just point blank tells her that she knows that she cut the brakes on of Rick's car. She knows that it was meant for Ava, but she does let her know about the ramifications of the accident and how this actually has impacted her because she's now being blackmailed by Rick and by Ava, and so Christina is very sorry this is happening. Of course, Christina wants to fix this, but Alexis tells her, "Please do not fix this. That she is going to handle it." All right, and then we of course get Christina hugging her mother at the end because of the support per se that that Alexis is giving. But we all know that this is not going to end the best way for Christina at all. Christina and Alexis do discuss the fact that Lucky is aware that of the reason why the accident occurred. Um, but once more, Alexis just says that she's going to handle it because she does not want Molly hurt in any shape or form. All right, Brandon, what were your thoughts about their conversation? And were you surprised that it happened?
I am surprised at the timing of the conversation, but I'm glad that it happened like that. But I will preface this and say that all of this comes because Rick was there, and that Christina was mad that Alexis and Rick are chatting. I'm a tad disappointed that the whole "I'm friends with Uncle Rick now" plot is already over, but yeah, I definitely thought this was quite interesting, especially considering that Christina's that fallen that she seemed to try to take a moral high ground on this, but to me, this actually kind of echoes a bit of Alexis in almost every conversation of her against Rick, and that she says that she's the moral center of everything, when now she's being blackmailed, extorting cash, and doing all the stuff she claims that's beneath her.
Yeah, and then Christina, I thought was interesting. The first thing she says is, "We'll tell Dad; he'll fix it." And Alexis says, "Absolutely not." And so I know it's only a matter of time before Sonny finds out. But is I thought it was interesting that Alexis says that she is the one who wants to fix this problem. And so we'll have to see that how this kind of plays out a little later. But these are for me, the 5 storylines that stood out while the nurses' ball took place. Brandon, did I leave out any storylines?
So is this just for the time of the nurses ball, or for the whole week overall?
In general, just in regards to what happened before and around the nurses' ball. So really, just last week.
Well, you can tell it's an exciting week when out of the big events that happened, that the whole Carly and Nina fist fight didn't even make it to the list.
Oh, good gracious. You are right, Brandon. How could I forget them? That happened on Monday, so I forgot about it that quickly. But yes, oh, their fist fight. Go ahead and let the audience know about that.
Yeah, so in Monday's episode, we're continuing where Friday left off of last week, and we have uh, Nina trying to talk some sense into Carly, and Carly trying to smack some sense into Nina, and vice versa, in this giant tumble. And so, yeah, Jocelyn has to break it up, and Nina's walking out on one shoe, and yeah, it's definitely a mess, and it's weird when Jocelyn's the one who now has the moral high ground on this.
It is, and that was so amusing and actually kind of fun to watch. But but yes, and I thought it was interesting during the nurses' ball itself that they both talked about it indirectly, but they did both talk about it in the bathroom. And Nina says Nina made some comment to Carly, and she said, I just want to talk. I don't want to fight or something like that. So, um, so yeah, it was a fun and interesting fight to watch. Um, I can't wait to hear what Jocelyn says later. Jocelyn, of course, has made comments about it, but later she's going to talk about it again. And so, and I don't think Jason does. Jason know? I can't remember.
I don't think so.
I can't remember, but yes, when that comes out later to Jason, that'll be interesting to watch too. But yes, that was unexpected and entertaining for the purpose of the show. All right, did I leave anything else out?
I think that was it.
All righty. Well, like I said, those are the highlights of everything that occurred before and after and during the nurses' ball. Let's talk a little bit about the acts on the nurses' ball, Brandon, because we had a lot of acts. We had, of course, Gio on the violin playing. We had the kids who sang a song. We had Joss and Trina who sang a duet together. We had Isaiah and all the nurses as an opening number. We had Isaiah, Dante, Chase, and Cody in a number. Then we had Spinelli and the girls singing a number also. And so, overall, what were your thoughts about the acts?
Oh, I mean, I love the various acts. I don't think anything felt like a distraction per se, and even the one act that we weren't aware of, to me, it sort of actually flowed with the episode and gave us some time to process because there was a lot of things happening within this week. So, I mean, I really enjoyed the acts, especially the spontaneity and that some people had to be replaced.
Yes, I think it's amazing that they're able to memorize songs in a matter of 1 minute. But yes, the spontaneity of it was really great. Of course, the act to me that was incredible was Gio's act. That was, of course, Gio himself plays the violin in real life, not just on the show. And so I believe it was the song "Glow" that he played on the show, and he did an incredible job. And so I want to give him kudos for that because it was really a wonderful number to watch. Brandon, were there any numbers that you really liked?
Oh, I love Glow. I mean, I really enjoyed how that was performed, and I really enjoyed Geo all the way around, and then Geo again in his second act.
Yeah, it's the second act that didn't quite occur, but yes, Gio did a wonderful job. And so, Brandon, anything else you want to talk about with the nurses' ball before we start talking about our performers of the week?
Yeah, I mean, I just really enjoyed it, and I thought it was a very smooth, like episodic special, so to speak. That we had this very secluded time where this is really everything that we spoke about, and even things that were not directly tied to the nurses' ball still fell in that line.
Yeah, I thought they did a really nice job of you're right of just kind of making the storyline kind of go together because General Hospital a lot of times will have multiple storylines and it just kind of goes one storyline within the other, and I have to take a lot of notes in order to kind of make it all kind of make sense to get the comprehensive whole per se because they will go from one scene to the next scene to the next scene and the scenes don't necessarily interact. So it was nice to see that they actually had a cohesive storyline with everything kind of interacting all together under the umbrella of the Nurses Ball. Performer of the week. And so this is not going to surprise you. Gio for me was the performer of the week. And I want to give Emma some kudos also because Emma did a really nice job when she went to go see Gio when she realized that he was upset. So I want to give both Gio and Emma the performance of the week. All right, Brandon, your thoughts?
Yeah, I fully agree with that. I mean, first of all, in seeing Gio's performance, his literal performance with the violin, and then the destroying of said violin. But then overall, I mean, I thought it was just really outstanding. I really enjoyed it, and watching it, I was just like, wow, nothing can top this. But and seeing that Emma was able to come in and speak with Gio, try to comfort him, and assess what's wrong, and then go after him, I just thought that that was like on par with Gio's performance, and so yeah, I fully agree with giving it to the both of them. I thought they did an outstanding job.
All right. All right. And now for the amusing scenes of the week. First of all, Lucy in itself, just because of the nurse's ball, when she walked in with a llama, I mean, really. So we have Lucy. Lucy in itself, to me, was one of the amusing, she was just amusing the whole week. We have Tracy and Mac at the police station. I got a kick out of them speaking. And in regards to Jason also being there, just kind of giving Tracy a little bit of a hard time for being arrested. And then we have Lucas and Liz. They were kind of the side group during the nurses ball watching at home, and I thought it was nice to see the sidebar with them, and they as they make comments about what happened during the ball. They did not appear until Friday, and so it was nice to see kind of Elizabeth kind of reflect a little bit about it, but then to catch Lucas up because we wondered where Lucas was, so they did explain where he was during the nurses ball itself. So those for me were some of the amusing scenes of the week. All right, Brandon, did you have any other amusing scenes of the week?
Yeah, well, in addition to those I fully agree with, I'm going to go back to Rick and Alexis, and there's a one-liner that they said there on uh, Monday, and that Alexis doesn't want Rick to push her buttons anymore, and Rick's like, "Why? Why? You're gonna have Christina show you how to cut my brake lines?" And Alexis immediately comes back with, "No, I'm sure there's an online tutorial."
Yeah, yeah. Yes, Alexis is very good, very quick witted. So yes, so that was actually nice too. All right, any others, Brandon?
I mean, primarily the ones you said. I did really enjoy the commentary that Lucas and Elizabeth had on Friday, and I think that really, I don't know, that provided a fun joy for me, especially the commentary of us going, "Ooh, that really happened." Poor Geo.
Yes, yes. All right, and then we've had, of course, some touching moments of the week. First of all, Gio, just his reaction, even though we have not had the full fallout, of course, with his reaction, just his initial reaction to finding out about his mother and then his new mother. So yeah, that was very touching. I thought Dante and Chase and Dante and Cody, they both had kind of interesting conversations and nice conversations in regards to the aftermath also. Um, and so I Cody was the one to tell Dante about Geo, and so it was. I liked the conversation that they had, or how they went about the conversation. And I thought that Cody was the appropriate person to tell him. It could have, I know it should have come from Brooklyn or even Chase, but it was just, I thought it came better coming from Cody. All right. And then I had another one. Ned and Sonny, they rarely have conversations together, but bonding over being grandfathers, and realizing that there was someone else that they should have known throughout their years. It was nice to see their conversation together. All right, Brandon, what kind of touching moments did you want to talk about?
So I'm gonna add two more to that.
Okay.
The first one is one that we have not discussed at all, but this is actually Sunny and Willow.
Oh yeah, they did have a very interesting conversation. They had actually figured out the custody battle
Yeah, until Nina ruined it.
until Nina came in all beat up. But yes,
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting, and something I meant to acknowledge last week, I guess as a runner-up for last week's performer, is that I was actually going to add Sunny, in part because for once he's the peacemaker. I mean, he's not solving problems by shooting things or people, that he's actually like using his words and negotiating. So I really like that, and I'm glad we were able to see that within this week. I mean, keeping the peace for his family, I thought was excellent. And then another one I'm going to add is Sonny and Olivia.
Yeah, because there wants more grandparents again, and so yes, I did like that too. I did. All right. Let's see. Best storyline of the week. And normally I don't have best storylines of the week, but it's all about Geo. So for me, this he had the best storyline of the week. All right, Brandon, out of the five, six we talked about, what for you is the best storyline of the week?
Oh, well, it's easily the Geo reveal. And Geo overall. I mean, throughout the week, I thought that that's just a really well executed storyline and well worth the wait of us going back and forth for months. I mean, this was worth it.
Yes. Now, and I know I mentioned that, of course, Gio's performance to me was my favorite for the Nurses Ball performance. But since we did have this ball here, let's talk about our number two performer of the week. I chose Joss and Trina, and I'm surprised that I did, but I like their duet. And I think I ended up watching it twice. So I did like their duet. I'm not to say that I didn't like Cody because I really, Cody's number, and I did like um, the opening number act that they did do at the nurses ball. But there was something about Joss and Trina that I really liked together and how they sang that song. And then you and I went back and watched some other back scenes from previous nurses balls, and we saw that they had another kind of duet also. And so I didn't quite realize that this is a tradition to have a duet between Josh and Trina. But anyway, Brandon, what for you is your second best after Geo for Nurses Ball performances?
I'd also have to say that one. I mean, I don't get me wrong. I liked the Nurses Ball throughout, and I did like the opening number. But I really liked Joss and Trina. But if I were to have to pick one right below that, I'm gonna actually have to say that third would be for me the one with Isaiah. What was it? Isaiah Chase, Dante, and Isaiah, Chase, Dante, and Cody.
Cody.
Which I don't think the four of them have ever actually interacted in one spot, but whatever.
Yeah, and I think it's amazing that Isaiah has so many scenes, how many different scenes that he was performing in. So I thought that was amusing too. All
Absolutely.
right. Yeah. And let's see, I've already said it, but welcome back, Michael. I should say welcome back, new Michael. And so I can't wait to see how he will kind of blend in with the storyline. I already like the way he kind of came in and swooped up Wiley. So I really can't wait to see how they kind of work this new Michael and in the way he reacts and performs with, both Sonny and with Carly. So I'm looking forward to seeing how he does that. All right, Brandon, any other welcome backs that I need to mention?
Well, I have a big one.
Oh, what's that?
Welcome back, Scout.
Oh, yes, welcome back, Scout. Scout, who has been missing. Actually, almost all those children have been missing. But yes, Scout, who has been missing. Georgie made her way back too. It's been a while since we've seen Georgie. And Spinelli, who, sporadic. And Spinelli was back too. So I guess, sorry, there's more than welcome back, Michael. There's more welcome back to Scout and to Georgie and Spinelli.
And James.
And James too. Oh, how could I forget that? Alrighty. Then the question is, where is Natalia? I mean, we've had the storyline for Natalia, and she's disappeared now. So where is Natalia? I missed Marco this week. So where is Marco? Where's Maxie? Maxie's been sporadic for the last couple of weeks. She's been here and there, but she's been kind of missing. So where is Maxie? Um, so Brandon, any other where is for you?
Was Sasha here this week?
No, I don't think Sasha was here this week.
How about Ava?
You know, I don't think Ava was either. Must be their week off. So, so where are you guys? We miss you.
I think it would have been so fun to see Ava at the nurses' ball. I don't know. To me, I would have loved to see her reaction to the whole Geo reveal.
Yeah, I would have too. That would have been rather amusing. But yes, we did miss all of you guys this week. And as for storylines that I'm looking forward to next week, it's once more, Geo, and actually, and more a little further than Geo, but Brooklyn and Dante. I want to see how they kind of react with each other. And then, of course, Michael. I want to see how the new Michael interacts with, like I mentioned before, his parents on the show. Um, Brandon, anything you're looking forward to for next week?
Well, before I do, I just realized that I forgot a big "Where are you?"
Oh, who are we missing?
Where's Laura?
Oh, that's true. Where is the mayor in all of this? That is a good question. That's a good question. So, and was Lucky missing?
Think so.
Lucky's missing too. Maybe Laura and Lucky were together. But anyway, so we can't wait to see everyone return for hopefully next week for continuation of plots and storylines. All right, Brandon. Anything else you want to bring up?
Yeah, well, in terms of what I look forward to next week, I kind of actually want, in my personal thought, I want to see Michael not be that receptive to his family in the sense that they've all been sort of working behind his back for things. I mean, obviously, I know that Willow is going to be a whole ordeal for him, but I kind of actually want him to be kind and understanding to Willow after the initial, of course, like to them. I personally think that Will and Michael could probably work out their details as long as you get people like, I don't know, Drew, Carly, Nina, and everyone else out of the room. So I kind of want to see them push towards that somehow, but I don't want Carly to get away that easily because she did kind of manipulate this whole situation.
Yep, she did. She did. So it'll be interesting to see how they kind of work this out. And then Jason's kind of in the middle of everything, not quite knowing what to do. But I think Jason is completely supportive of Michael and everything that he kind of wants to do. And I think he will tell him the truth. Oh, and then didn't even think about it. Now that Michael's back, we've got a father for Sasha's baby. So that'll be kind of interesting to watch too. All right. Anything else, Brand?
Yeah, I mean, there's two things I want to mention here too. I mean, with all of the stuff, I think the most interesting thing right now is actually with Christina's family in the sense that not only is Christina, yeah, she cut her uncle's brakes, and now her sister, Molly, might be in duress for that. Her mom, Alexis, is being blackmailed, but her brother, Michael, is now back from Germany, and the other brother, Dante just found out that he's a father again. Um, and the whole reason Christine's in this issue is because she tried to cut the brakes of the mother of her other sister, Avery. So, I mean, I think all of this sort of actually wraps around Christina's family in a sense, indirectly, because it seems that her whole family is in peril now. In part directly or indirectly because of her, and all just a matter of like what 3 days.
Yeah. So true. So true. Well, we'll have to see how this kind of ends up, Brandon.
But yeah, we absolutely will. And I just said the other one is the only disappointment this week is we didn't see Blaze come back.
I know. I was kind of hoping Blaze would come back. We had this other person who I didn't know who it was. I'm so sorry for y'all who knew who that was um, on General Hospital who performed. But yeah, I was kind of looking forward to and hoping that Blaze would be one of the stars who came back because that would have been interesting to see with Christina and the reaction that she would have if Blaze had come back. Well, let us know what your thoughts are about the Nurses Ball. And we can't wait to read them. And so we thank all of you guys for watching today. And we hope all of you have a great week.
And we'll see you then.
All right. Bye bye, everybody.